What was fascinating for me the last 8 years at Cisco, I represented the CEO of the company, John Chambers, someone who all of you probably know. By the way, he's one of the most wonderful human beings on earth and a dear friend, and I love him to death. And what I did in that role was I was playing like a futurist and the technology guy. So what happened is about 5.5, 6 years ago, I started seeing social, starting to kind of people talk about it, and I began to use it. And it was the funniest thing. I went through Twitter and I was like, I don't see any value in this thing. I mean, what is 140 characters? What the hell can you say on 100? Yeah, exactly. And you start discounting it, and it dawned on me. I was trying to think it was like like Facebook, but it wasn't like Facebook. It was more like a media channel, as we all know, right? And you got a way to build your brand, and you got a way to do all these other things. And it was fascinating to me on what you can do. So when you marry, and you fast forward a little bit, you marry the internet that connected people. You add mobility, which connected us 7x24 anywhere, any place. And then you add social on top of that, which, by the way, all these three technologies happened in the last 25 years. The whole notion of having these three technologies, now people have power, unlike ever before. Knowledge is fully democratized, so there's nothing you can't find out about someone or something. I can spend as much money as I want on my brand, and yet I go to Amazon and buy something, and I read a review that's negative on the brand I'm going to buy, and I end up buying something different off of someone's review that I don't even know. Right? So now it's no longer what I say as a brand, it's what people are saying about me as a brand. And then the expectations from the Gen Yers who have grown up with these three technologies are very, very different on what is expected of them. So when you add that up and you fast forward when this generation will be the primary consumer or primary employees, their expectations of how they're going to communicate to you are radically different. So is it big? Yeah, I think it's really, really big. And I think what most companies are trying to do is what do you do about it? And the challenge is most of the people who are leading the companies are my age, haven't grown up with the technology, may or may not be using it for work or personal, and not having that understanding creates some challenges. So I think we're at a turning point in that. But it is very, very big, and I think it's going to be transformative in business.
At Sprinklr, you have kind of a front seat in this kind of transformation. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, the basic philosophy is that in order to serve your clients, you got to know them, right? I mean, and the challenge that most companies have is that so many channels have evolved so rapidly. Think about it. In my generation, the phone was invented. And then we figured out on how to leverage it for business, whether we're going to do telemarketing or we used it to for a call center. I got a problem, call the number, 1-800 number. Email came out, which you're very familiar with, and it took a big period of time and how we use that as a tool. Social has come out, except it's not one channel that's coming out in 10, 12 years. It's 24, 30 channels, and it's going to continue to grow at a rapid rate, and it keeps changing. So how do you listen on all those channels? How do you aggregate that in a way that makes sense, but with the intention of really understanding your customer? So these are all new channels of the new world that you need to listen on and engage on. But you also have to interconnect to your existing systems, your CRM, your ERP, your .com, because you're not going to replace them. So our whole strategy is working around and helping customers and our clients know their customers in a much better way so they can serve them. And we do it by listening on the new world channels and connecting to their existing systems. When you combine that data, I know who you are, I know what you're saying about me, I also know your preferences, and I can basically engage with you in the way you want to engage with me.